We have another young Indian with us today in the Voice of the Young segment. Hello, everybody. Good to be with you once again. Today we have with us Sabhya Rai. Over to you, Sabhya. Let's hear from you.
Yeah, so hi everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, sir. I really hope that my experiences can be of some help to others. I would like to start my journey with economics. I did my bachelor's from Kirodimal, Delhi University. I would say that was not a very well thought decision. It was a random choice I made that I wanted to pursue economics. But I think my career post that has taken drastic turns and in very precise directions. When I started my journey at Delhi University, of course, the initial shock every DU student in economics gets that this is what economics really is about. I did get it. But to me, I just felt that, Delhi University and the entire college experience, I just felt that it had a lot more to it than just academics. So I really wanted to explore that bit. And my first exposure started with an internship, which was with Niti Aayog. And I think that is where a lot of my ideas and a lot of my interests came out. So with Niti Aayog, I worked on a project which was on the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. And I think my first introduction to policy making and what it entails and how it needs to be rechecked so that to ensure that it is working efficiently. I think that sort of exposure really made me realize that I want to be a part of this in one way or another. I want to be a part of this.
Okay.
So that was my first exposure. And yeah, as in when I graduated from my undergrad degree, I just started to feel that, and that internship experience, I think I just wanted to know the subject a lot more.
Okay.
So that was again then that was again a very easy decision for me to go for a master's and not an MBA or any other sort of higher degree. Like doing a master's seemed very appropriate, and I ended up at Gokhale Institute of Politics and Economics. There, I think, I mean, of course, from the conventional subjects that we did, there was this very unique subject that I was introduced to, which again became like a turning point in my life events. There was a subject known as economic sociology. And I think knowing that how economics can also have intersectionality with a social science subject like sociology was very new to me. And I got really fascinated and excited with what it had. So the coursework apart, the subject also had some field work, and we had to really go up to places in Maharashtra and talk to people about caste discrimination, land rights, and all of that. And I think that really exposed me to how to know the reality on ground. And there was also this time when we went for field work, and I used to, those people were very hopeful. Like they really felt that, we as students would bring about some great change. And that is when I saw their faces, I just felt like that, I have to bring that change irrespective how, like I have to do something. And again, like that was a turning point in the sense that I knew what I wanted to do. And
just a second. You don't know Marathi,
yes.
So how do you do field work in rural Maharashtra?
Yes, we did have students who were from Maharashtra, and they acted as translators for us.
Okay.
Yeah, that was there. So then that was one part, and then moving on, when I was about to graduate from my master's, I wasn't really sure about how I would pursue my interest, but I was very sure that corporate is not the answer to what I want to do.
Okay.
So it was just a choice based on what I don't want to do rather than what I want to do. Okay. And so I cut out corporate from my list of choices, and I started to explore some NGOs. And so my first job ended up being with an NGO which worked out of Devas in Madhya Pradesh. And so they had a lot of projects going on, but the one I was associated with was on labor migration, and it had to do something with how the labor migrates and they're not aware of their rights, and they tend to be exploited in multiple ways. So that was something, again, I used to talk to people on telephone, and there was exposure to in-person reality. And yeah, again, I just felt that, it felt like really satisfying work, but it was a very short stint. And but all these experiences, all these past experiences, I think I just felt that now I have sufficient exposure to primary data, like how that works, that, being on field, collecting data, that sort of exposure, I just felt that I had enough of it. So post that NGO experience, I wanted to explore something to do with secondary data, so that probably I can look at all these problems in a broader perspective, because primary data was sort of limiting the kind of view I could have towards these problems.
Okay.
So yeah, with my interest now towards knowing how secondary data really works, I applied for a job with a think tank in Delhi. So there I worked for about a year and a half, and I was sufficiently exposed to international data sets, to coding. Like all these exposures came in from there, and I got to know that how secondary data and data sets that already exist can really aid the research that one intends to do. So that was my first experience with secondary data, coding, and all of that. And that those 1.5 years really shaped my acumen towards research, because I just felt like there was a lot that research could do. Initially, I mean, till my master's, I wasn't really sure what research entails. I can put it in simple words. I wasn't very sure.
Yeah.
And with this exposure with the think tank, even though the think tank worked for the government, and there was but I still felt that there was a lot that research can do, and irrespective of where the research goes, either it goes to a private organization, to the government, or wherever. So that was that. But also, I was as a research assistant there, I also realized that without a PhD, the max I could probably go is a research assistant. So and I really wanted to do things and work on things I really wanted to work on. So I think that power to work on things I really want to work on, my little research showed me that PhD was the right way to go about it. And yeah, and then again, I was at crossroads about applying abroad, staying in India, and there was a lot of confusion about it. I used to chat and connect with people about what is the right thing to do. And I mean, the simple answer was to go abroad. It was a very clear-cut answer from everybody. And but I don't know, in my personal choice ended up being doing it from India. Firstly, because I wasn't, I wanted to be close to family while I go on this tough journey. I didn't want to be really far away from them. And I just felt that, being in a better, in a close-knit space and in a better mental space would help me perform better. So I didn't want to, I personally analyzed the situation for myself, and I realized that India would be a better choice. And with respect to India, again, I was made to figure out what sort of colleges I want to look at and all of that. And somehow management schools stuck with me, and because it made me feel like that, they just don't do economics in isolation, but they do economics in the larger context of management. And I think it just gave a lot more perspective to the subject. And I kind of liked it when I read about it, when I went through the websites and all of that. I just felt that management schools gave a lot more perspective to the subject, and I wanted to do my PhD from a management school.
Okay.
So yeah, that it came down to a simple choice then, after much analysis. And again, then I did my applications and everything, and I made it to IIM Bangalore, and my journey started in 2021. So right now I'm entering my third year. So we have our qualifying exams at the end of second year, which is basically the end of coursework. And
Yeah.
my coursework just ended, and I'm now going to pursue like full-time research. And I think while I was doing my coursework and started to explore my interests, again I came back to it. Like, where I started, it all seemed to connect well, because I knew that, now that I have the resources and I know and I have the basic knowledge of how to go about research, I again want to do the same thing which I wanted to do before, which is aid policy making in some way. That,
Okay.
using the resources and my knowledge, I can give some inputs towards how policy can be probably made or implemented. And in that way, the impact it would be much bigger than, let's say, what I was doing in my primary data stints. So
Yes.
that is something I realized, and I started to analyze like what some questions I really wanted to answer. Of course, with the help of professors and other colleagues, I used to discuss, and there was discussion and back and forth, and there was a realization of some ideas being really good just in the head, and of course, some ideas to which I could actually work on. And again, so I started working, and again, it's really new work so far, because I was still doing my coursework. But yeah, again, it's got to do something with migration of laborers and how that sort of affects the overall economy, and the so how people migrate from one sector to another, and that impacts the well-being of the people in each sector. So the work has something around it, and I just feel that every day, doing research, every day there is something. The fact that I'm learning something new is the prime importance. And secondly, there's no day that I feel like I'm going to work with, like, just because I have to go to work. And I think the fact that, let's say, some days I don't want to work, that flexibility is totally on me. And I think that is something. I mean, of course, academia has its uh, drawbacks and all of that, but I think the most positive aspect of it, what I feel, is that firstly I get to do what I like to do, and
Mhm.
secondly, I don't have to consider it like a job. It doesn't
Okay.
feel like a job.
Okay.
It feels a lot right now. I mean, of course, later it could have different notions to it,
Yeah.
but right now it doesn't feel like a job, and it feels a lot more like just getting up to do something I like to do. So
Yeah.
I think that aspect of it is something that really keeps me going. Uh, of course, there are days when
Wait
I
a
just
minute. Let me amend
yes,
your statement. Not like to
yes,
do. You are driven to do.
driven to do. Yes.
Driven to do. Like is like I like vanilla ice cream. It's not that.
Yeah,
You are
yeah,
driven.
driven is the
I
word.
mean,
Hmm.
the more I hear you, the more I see a person who's driven.
Hmm.
There's
That's right.
something that's driving you. So you are
Hmm.
driven to do this. So no wonder you enjoy it, because you are
Hmm.
driven to do it. Like is
Right.
not the right word for you.
Yes.
This
Right.
is life. This is not like, it's life. You are driven.
It's
This
like,
is it. This is it.
right.
That's
Right.
what I'm
Hmm.
hearing from you. That this is life.
Yes.
This is my
Hmm.
life.
Hmm.
Like is
Hmm.
like, okay, I like this movie. I don't like that movie.
I get it. It's
It's
more
not
like a
that.
superficial thing.
Yeah, this is life for me.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
driven to do it. So I'm very happy to
Yes.
hear that you are driven to do it and you are doing it. Sorry to interrupt, but I've been hearing you
No,
and
no, I
it's
get it.
sounding like this is a driven woman. She's
Yes.
driven
Hmm.
to do this and she's getting a chance to do it. I'm glad to hear. So sorry to interrupt, but let's continue.
No worries. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, apart from this, of course, there is a dark side to the PhD program. I mean, of course, there is, in isolation, it feels great. But in comparison to, let's say, when I look at some of my friends in the corporate or in some other sector, it just feels like the growth and the process here is very slow. And sometimes it also feels like that, there's no progress. I'm just probably doing the same thing over and over again. And I think to keep myself motivated during those phases is something I would not say I've fully learned. I'm still learning, but that sort of, I think, is a life skill that I'm building. It's not just for my degree. It just makes me feel like a more resilient person in life. Being bogged down by little things, or being flustered at little issues. I just feel like that as a PhD student, I just feel that you don't have a choice but to overcome it. So to because in my academic work, I have to do that. It has just sort of started reflecting in my personal life as well. When I had entered the program, I did hear a lot of people say that, you when you graduate, you're probably one of the most patient people and all of that. And I was really skeptical of, how a degree can make me patient. Like I would really not expect a degree would to change me, my basic traits of being like, not very patient. But I just feel that it does have a drastic impact. The degree is designed in a way, and it is structured in a way that you are left with no choices but to adopt these coping mechanisms, where you end up being a problem solver, a patient person, and you just feel like, there might not be, of course there could be things which are completely beyond scope, but that word beyond scope you start to use very less. And mostly the idea is to figure out things. So I think this transition from the phrases I started to use initially to now is a huge transition. And of course, I think being in a management school and being exposed to how economics fits into management is something that really intrigues me, actually. Because economics, when we look at it from an academic subject just in isolation, it has a lot of different value when, let's say, the MBA students put it in context of a management
Yes.
sort of course. And the way they are taught these subjects is totally from a perspective of how they can use it at their workplaces. And
Yeah.
the way we start to see the subject has a lot to do with, how we can add to the core material of the subject.
Yes.
So that entire change in dimension, I think, is really sometimes really fascinates me, because I do get to attend a few MBA classes, and the way they want to learn things and the way they learn things is very different from a way an academician wants to learn things. And I think that difference has now very become very clear to me. And it just gives more perspective that the same subject is being learned by many people really differently for like completely different purposes. So that is something that, and it's not just the material, the course material could also be the same. It's just the way sometimes it's taught and the way sometimes its applications are told, that, that this is how something can be used in the corporate, but this is exactly how you can extend the frontiers of this area to be
True.
able to do research on
True.
it.
True. True.
So that is
Absolutely.
something.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Okay. Good.
Yeah. So this has been my journey so far.
Well, let me say one thing. All PhDs are hellish.
Yes,
I have
that's
done
true.
my PhD. I've supervised PhDs. They're all hellish. Okay. No,
Yes.
it's a shock why people continue to do it. And I tell many people that, look, if you are not sure, then please don't go there because it's hellish. But you are driven. You have no choice to
Hmm.
do. You have
Hmm.
really no choice but to do a PhD. Okay. So you will go through the hellish part and maybe even enjoy it. Who knows? But yeah, the
I
obstacles.
hope.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
obstacles and all, they come in the way. As you have rightly said, it's not a joke to do a PhD. Doing a master's program is much easier, much simpler.
Hmm.
And this
Hmm.
is a very different animal altogether. And I'm
Yes.
glad to hear you tell us about all the issues. But I sense that you are too serious a person. So maybe you didn't even have some fun in college in Kirodimal, did
No,
you?
no, I definitely did. I
You
definitely
did.
did.
Okay.
I
Thank
had,
God.
I think I had a lot of my share of fun in my undergrad as well as my masters. So I really have no regrets right now with my
Yeah.
life. I'm
Okay.
totally comfortable with this academic life
Because
right
the
now.
courses in Delhi at the BA level, they are aimed at the average student in the Delhi
Yes,
University, and they're not
yes.
aimed at you. You can just do them,
Hmm.
without. So there's plenty of time to do other things.
Yes. No, no,
Yes,
I did. I
yeah,
did have my
there's plenty of time to do other things. So I'm glad that you got that. Of course, in Pune, I guess there was courses are tougher, and
yes.
of course, once you go to IIM Bangalore, now you don't have any easy courses. They are tough, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
They're
Hmm.
tough, right?
Definitely.
So they're
Yes.
definitely tough, but you have cleared them, so now you are on
Yes.
your own. Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think it's just this. And now that you mention it, I think that transition from the coursework ending to actually starting my work on the thesis, I think that transition has also been a little confusing because there is one day you have everything structured for you, like the course and everything. You have exams, somebody's constantly judging your progress. And right now, like I'm in that phase of transition where I'm just left on my own. Like now I know I'm on my own. So, I think
Sink or
that
swim.
transition.
Sink or swim.
So yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's right. So I think that transition, I'm in that transition phase, and sometimes it makes me wonder that, will I really have to be alone in this journey now and all of that? But yeah, I think it's just the transition talking, and it will settle down soon.
yeah, it
So
will. It will. Okay. And I think we should catch up with you 1 year from now to see
yes, please.
whether it has been hellish or normal or what,
Yes, yes,
Everybody's experience is different. So I'd like to hear from you
definitely.
1 year from now, where you are and what you are thinking of about for laborers, workers, etc. And I'll be glad
Yes,
to have you back after 1 year to just hear from you. But
sure.
in
I'll
the
be more
meantime,
than
let's
glad.
say bye to the viewers. And let me say, you can also say bye to them, but let me say that I'll be back with another young person or another expert soon. So bye bye.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my story.
Okay.
Bye.